Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Pow Block here on Boss Rush Games. I'm your host, the enlightened and excited Eddie V. Joining me is the gallivanting Gallatrat himself, Mr. Jacob Taylor.
What's going on, everybody?
The devastating Dungeoneer, Mr. David Laxby.
Happy Monday, everybody.
And you guys, he is making his return. He's the one, the only, my bro him, my bro Chacho, my best friend, the one, the only, Bossman himself in the building, Mr. Corey Derry. Yes!
I don't know if I deserve that much hype. There was a lot of hype there.
You forgot Brotato Chip.
You did, or Brokemon, like I call you.
Brokemon. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing?
I'm great. Thanks for asking, Ed. I got a lot of sleep last night, and by a lot, I mean I got like a good 4.5 hours. It's awesome.
Ooh, good. What about you, David? How was your weekend?
It was great. Yeah, I played lots of video games and got to catch up on some anime I've been watching, so it's good.
Yes. Before we went live, we were talking about Attack on Titan, and David got me because he was playing Aliens Colonial Marines, and I fell out laughing. But I sent you a good yes, though. You know, I always go to support, so I sent you a good yes. Jacob, you have went through a terrible weather last week.
I survived the apocalypse.
Oh,
as far as Texas is concerned.
Yeah, you're in Texas. You got Ohio weather for a week. How do you feel? This is what I've been dealing with for, I don't know, how old am I? 34 years. How do you feel?
Yeah. I'm fine, man. Your boy's the luckiest man alive because nothing went wrong with my house. So I am A-okay. The worst I had was I had to be without internet for like a couple days.
Oh no!
But I just hotspotted from my phone. So.
How did you do that?
Hotspot from the phone. I just couldn't stream, which was a huge bummer because I was stuck at home with no work, but I couldn't stream, which is my other job. So I'm like, well, guess I just have no income coming. That's fine.
Oh, no. Well, everybody, we're going to get into some quick housekeeping because we got a special plug for you guys. This is episode 234 of Nintendo Pow Block Podcast. Each and every week we come together to talk about games and everything we love about them with our friends. You could join us live on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/BossRushGamesLive and be a part of the conversation. But if you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head over to youtube.com/BossRushGames and BossRushGames.com to watch the show or listen on your podcast service of choice. Remember to subscribe, follow, rate, and review wherever you consume us. It helps us with our discoverability, and check out our family of shows wherever you listen to your podcast. And also, everybody join us on our Discord channel where you can also join into the chat. Now, I got to make this announcement because this is literally huge, a big milestone. If you guys are not watching Crossroads, the PlayStation podcast, what are you doing? You guys need to check it out. Go ahead and subscribe to them. Follow them on Twitch follow them on Twitter at PS_Crossroads because you guys, Crossroads is going to have the voice actor of Leon S. Kennedy, Nick Apostolites, I think that is. Please forgive me. He's going to be in the House Press Square with the crew this coming Tuesday night on 8 p.m. And Laurent put on his thing. Laurent put on his quote, "Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch." So,
whoa.
I know. This is that kind of podcast, but everybody do go check out Exodus 803 on Twitch. Go follow his page and subscribe to him. Get the notifications, everything, because this is a huge milestone. Him, Austin, and Nelly, they will be talking with them about all things Resident Evil, and probably get to know his gaming and everything and how he does voice acting. So really do tune in to you guys. It's very important. You guys will be able to join into the chat with them live and ask questions, or if not, if you follow them on Twitter at PS_Crossroads, you'll be able to drop some questions there that you want to ask them. It's going to be a live recording. Do jump in. we here at Nintendo Pow Block congratulate them. We're going to be supporting them. We're going to be plugging a lot on our pages, hopefully, and on our Nintendo Pow Block page, so that you guys remember to tune in and watch the episode, because this is big. Congratulations to them for this 25th episode. Crossroads, just really happy and proud of all the work that they do. And shout out to Nettie, being able to get him on the show. She works hard and diligently behind the scenes for the show. So congrats to them with that. You guys do check it in and watch it, and just have fun with the PlayStation crew, laugh along with them, and just enjoy that time with Nick and everything. But with that, everybody out the way, it's time to get to one of our favorite parts, and that is Snacktendo. Corey, you have been gone for a while, so what has been on your Snacktendo?
Oh, geez. Yeah, my wife's mom made some nice veggie egg rolls tonight, like homemade. They were really good. They were really good. Dipped them in some boom boom sauce, just to spice it up a little bit. It was really good. Also this weekend, Ed, I had some killer rice paper, just Indonesian fried rice with some chicken and shrimp. Oh,
yes.
Oh, I ate like a king this weekend. It was amazing. Oh, and last night we made hamburgers, homemade hamburgers. Then I look at myself. I wonder why I'm so large, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
Let me tell you, dude. Dude, rice paper. If you're ever in Akron, Ohio, you need to find rice paper and just shovel it in, man, because it's delicious. And the good thing is they gave me an extra half a piece of chicken and 3 extra pieces of shrimp.
You hit the jackpot.
I did.
Man.
It was amazing. And the rice. It's like they fry the rice in red curry, so it has a little bit of spice to it. I gotta tell you, it was delicious. It was delightful.
Yes. Jacob, what have you been snacking on? What's
Man.
been your snacking?
So Texas just went through the apocalypse in that we're barely set up to deal with like half an hour of ice on the road. And we had an entire week of snow, heavy snow and ice, which is insane. Global warming and climate is a thing. Climate change is a thing. But so I sent a picture to the Pow Block group. There's nothing on the shelves. I went grocery shopping today like I usually do. I've been trying to go grocery shopping. I usually go on Sunday. There's been nothing. And I was lucky enough to get out with like bread and hard salami and cheddar cheese, like slices of hard cheddar, sharp cheddar cheese, man. So that's like, I think the most exciting thing that I ate this past week was probably the kolaches that I eat every Saturday from the local donut store, like this place that's near me, 2 minutes away from me. And that's it. It's been incredibly barren in my Snacktendo world.
Yes. David, what have you been snacking on?
Oh, the best thing I ate this week, we made some Thai rainbow peanut noodles with like chopped up bell peppers and sriracha peanut sauce, a little bit of sesame seeds on top. And I love it. Anything like Thai peanut flavored is my favorite. So that was great. You're
one of those people, the peanut people.
Oh,
that's
yes.
Amazing.
Yes, please. Peanut everything.
Everybody always makes fun of me because I don't like peanut anything.
What about like a peanut butter parfait?
No, peanut butter and anything is just not good. I don't like peanut butter. This is my thing. I don't like peanut butter. I like peanut butter, but it's got to be a very specific type of peanut butter. It has to be Peter Pan honey peanut butter. Okay. And I can only eat it on toast. Like
toasted bread. You can't even have like a sandwich.
No, it's got to be on toast. Can't.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm weird. Okay, I get it. I know I'm weird. It's not even the weirdest thing I don't like. Okay.
Wait, so you don't even like Reese's peanut butter cups?
No.
So yesterday during Corey's Standard Definition podcast, I had to resign from Boss Rush Games and Boss Rush Network because of some controversial information they were throwing out. They didn't like Skyward Sword.
Oh, look. I promised that I would. First of all,
not liking Reese's is the last straw.
First of all, go back about
the gift of God.
60 or 70 episodes when Ed and I were talking about Skyward Sword, and I said if they ever ported it to the Switch, they could. If they don't want to do motion controls, they could just put the sword swipes on the stick, and everybody would be fine. Guess what? A year and a half later, we're here. Guess what happens? I think Onuma is our biggest.
I can already hear the complaints. I can already hear the complaints of the stick not working. Joy-Con drift. I can hear it.
Great. You know what? I'm going to get new Joy-Cons, and I don't care.
Fair enough.
Maybe we'll just get that Switch Pro at some point, and then I'll play it then.
Ed, what have you been snacking on?
Yeah, Ed.
So I've been snacking on some beef lo mein, fried rice. I can't help. Got a place called China Kitchen, and I cannot stop eating there. I just love their beef lo mein. Just $7 for like this big fat of noodles and rice, and it hypnotizes me. And it's just like I want more. I literally want more, and then it'll put me to sleep for a good 5-6 hours, and I get up and be like, I want some more of this. I've been eating some of the Cheetos, cheddar jalapenos. Truly love been eating that, and just been drinking some Fiji water and having a banana. I've been trying to lessen my fast food intake and trying to eat healthy and everything. But I will run through some sushi in like a heartbeat. You throw some sushi in front of me and I will run it. If you put some wasabi on it, please don't put too much on it. Other than that, I could do some wasabi. I can't do much.
That's so good on sushi though. You just put that
ginger.
You just put
that palate.
Dude, look, okay, so what I do is take my fork and I just like rub it in the wasabi and then I stick it into the sushi because I'm white and I can't use chopsticks, so I just like rub it all around, stab the sushi, just put it in my mouth, and it's like a cleansing,
like
yeah, it's so good, man. Just feels good.
See, it's like
it's like when you put too much Arby's sauce on an Arby's sandwich and you just put too much, it's got that same cleansing feeling. That's what it is, man. It feels so good.
I will say that I did have some McDonald's. I was going to try their spicy chicken, but I'm just like, I was so tired after work. I'm like, I just need something to eat right now. And I just like got me 2 cheeseburgers and was just out and I was out. I'm like, I don't feel like having them mixed up. And and that
McDonald's has a spicy chicken sandwich.
No, they have their spicy nuggets. Came back. They do have a spicy chicken sandwich. They may still have the spicy McChicken there, for it. But
also, shout out, mix your wasabi in your soy sauce.
See, I can't. I put so much soy sauce on my sushi, like I literally drown it because I can't.
You want some sushi with that soy sauce, Ed?
Yeah.
Yes. If I go to my regular sushi place, I gotta see if they're back open. They put in a little dipping pan, and I'll dip it and eat it there. With that. Other than that, because I it's weird when I go out for sushi, I'll eat the sushi regular, like dipping and stuff, and I'll save my miso soup for last, and then take my time with that good old miso soup because man, miso soup it's the bomb big. It really is the bomb big and everything. But other than that, yeah, that's what I've been stacking on for my Snacktendo. So everybody, let us know what you guys been stacking on. You guys can put it on the chat or hit us up on our Discord, Nintendo Pow Block channel, or our Snacktendo channel on Discord, and let us know what you guys been snacking on. Or is there some new food that we should be looking forward to and trying? I'm up to try some new food and everything, new snacks, and get back to everybody. But we're going to get into our Game Fact events now. Dan was going to deliver the Game Fact events, but he wasn't able to make it. So hopefully everything is okay on his side. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about Zelda's anniversary. And I kind of want to ask you guys, when was your first encounter with the Zelda franchise? Jacob, what was your first time encountering the Zelda franchise?
My first encounter would have been The Legend of Zelda on the NES from my brother's console, just as a really little kid. My first encounter that I got to play as Link was A Link to the Past on my grandma's SNES that she had for whenever we came to spend summers with her. But then my first and my most favorite game of all time is Link's Awakening. That's the first ever just game in general that I beat without any guides, without any like older siblings, cousins telling me like, how do I get back past this part? You know, mom, dad helped me with this. And that game is like, I play it every single year. I replay it. I love the new remake that just came out. Yeah, that would be my first.
All right, David, what was your first encounter with the Legend of Zelda series?
Well, similar to Jacob, it was on the NES playing the original. I borrowed it from the neighbor kid down the street, and he gave me these complicated instructions about making sure I didn't delete his game. Because if you remember, you had to hold the reset button down when you turned it off for the NES on the Zelda games, or it would delete the game file. Speaking of a game fact. And of course, that was too hard for me, so I erased all of his progress and had to then get it back for him before I returned the game, so he didn't know. So that was kind of a trial by fire, and I definitely loved the original, Legend of Zelda and NES. But A Link to the Past was when I just completely fell in love with the series and decided that was the game for me. And like Jacob said with Link's Awakening, I play A Link to the Past probably once or twice a year.
All right, what about you, Corey? How did you get into the series?
Well, the first time I played Zelda was Link's Awakening on Game Boy. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I was a Genesis kid. One of those mistakes. But I did play Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. Was like my first real Zelda experience. I played A Link to the Past, right? I think I've told this story on the show before, where I was playing it, but I didn't know like what Zelda was, right? I didn't know there were dungeons. I just thought you were gonna go walk around and like murder stuff with a sword. So like, I knew where the beach was. I knew I got lost in the woods with a sword, and then I kind of just like, I don't know what this game is, so I'm gonna go back and play Ninja Turtles like a real gamer. But Ocarina of Time was like my first real Zelda experience, and this is an embarrassing story as well. I was playing the game. I was just kind of like just playing it, whatever. I didn't use a guide or anything. I got to the Shadow Temple, and I was trying to figure out how to beat it. I was getting really frustrated. I couldn't figure it out, so I turned it off and I started playing something else. I don't know what I was playing at the time. Started playing something else. Majora's Mask came out. I loved Majora's Mask. Loved Majora's Mask. Okay. Beat it in a weekend, by the way. I went and rented it.
Oh, wow.
Beat it in a weekend. And I was like, man, this is awesome. I need to go back to Ocarina of Time. Not only did I buy Majora's Mask, I bought the guide for Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And I played Majora's Mask again. I found all the masks. I like 100%ed it. It was like my proudest gaming moment at the time. It was awesome. Went back to Ocarina of Time. I was like, okay, got the guide. I know how to play Zelda because I've been playing Majora's Mask. Didn't know you had to go back in time. Didn't know you could go back in time in Ocarina of Time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you didn't read.
No, I didn't use a guide.
No, but I'm pretty sure Sheik tells you that, doesn't she, David? Can you?
I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I played through Ocarina of Time, which is one of my least favorite Zeldas.
Yeah.
What?
It's like a middle of the road Zelda for me too.
Oh no!
Ed, you can't talk with your bashing on Majora's Mask. So
But, okay,
we got you outnumbered here.
Hold on. So I get the shade for Majora's Mask, and you don't like Ocarina of Time, but I love Ocarina of Time.
Okay. It's okay.
You're allowed to be wrong, Ed. It's fine. We have this discussion all the time. You're allowed to be wrong. We've had this discussion for 7 years at this point.
Wait, I cannot believe that is your lead.
It is the most overrated Zelda game out there, and it's not even close.
Really?
The hype that game gets for like the mediocre experience it provides, it kills me.
The shade and the attack on me.
Look, he works for a real Zelda website, so we can believe him.
You would have Majora's Mask if you didn't have Ocarina of Time.
That's true, and it's a better game than Ocarina of Time.
It is a better game.
What?
It's a way better game.
The shade of it all.
The 3DS.
The shade of it all.
What was your first moment, Ed?
I am a gasp.
Ed, what was your first moment?
Mine was the first Legend of Zelda. I remember when the game came out, having the gold cartridge. I would used to watch my brother and his friend play, but when I got my own copy, I was able to put it in, and I like finished it within like two days. Even though I had school and stuff to go through, it didn't take me long to beat it, and I like definitely enjoyed it. And ever since Legend of Zelda has came out with a game, I got it. Besides Majora's Mask, I played Majora's Mask a little bit later on. Because I fell in love with Ocarina of Time, like the Z targeting, those dungeons, and like the music and everything, and realizing that this was a new chapter of the Legend of Zelda. Even after playing Caesar's the Game Boy ones, and I was just like, wow, this is just amazing. But yeah, the regular Legend of Zelda, when it came out, that was my first one. I think I put it in the Discord chat that when you hear the Legend of Zelda music, like the intro for the NES, do you hum along or do you press start? Shout out to Laurent, because he listens to the music and everything. But what did you guys? And then we're gonna move on to our news, Femi news. Did you guys listen to the music of the NES version when it first came on? Did you hum along, or did you just like, okay, just press start and then get into the adventure? Jacob.
I pressed start. I was a small child. I got into the adventure. I didn't even care. I didn't know what a pixel was. I knew I could swing a sword at people, so that's what I did.
What about you, Corey?
Just go, man. Just press start. Let's just go.
He was a Sega kid.
Yeah,
so.
Dude, I was too busy
He's
playing.
Gotta go fast.
I was too busy playing Hyperstone Heist and Rocket Knight Adventures. Okay, I don't have time for your your Zelda.
If it wasn't chiptune, I mean, you know. No, I listened to it. I still get kind of, you know, goosebumps when I hear it now, just because it, you know, as a kid, that just it stimulated my imagination, and it captivated me for sure. I'd watch all the way to the end of the credits and look at all the items. And
yeah, I listen to the music, like, and I press start, I'll listen to it, read the story, watch the items. It's just like hearing it, it's just such a classic, iconic tune. And I think it's, along with Mario, I think it's one of the most universal theme songs that you could probably ask people, be like, have you heard this? And someone would be like, yeah, that's from the Legend of Zelda. Probably in the gaming community, yes. People would know what it is. And it's been remixed and like orchestrated so many times that even when you
down.
Yeah, the Symphony of the Goddess, like hearing them play is just mind blowing good. Like it's so, to this very day, one of my favorite theme musics of any video game to hear. But everybody, we're gonna jump into Femi News. David, take it away.
All right, thanks, Ed. Well, our first story tonight, Evergate physical release spotted on Amazon Spain. So this is from Gamatsu via NintendoEverything.com. The platformer Evergate released on the Switch eShop in August as a digital exclusive. Now it appears the game may be getting a physical version. Gamatsu reported that a physical release was listed on Amazon Spain for approximately 30 euros or 37 US dollars. The listing comes complete with box art and a release date of March 31, 2021. None of this is confirmed, but the addition of box art would hint at this listing being legit. So we may be seeing an announcement on this sometime in the future. All right, panel, so for consideration, sometimes these listings end up being little more than placeholders for potential releases. What do you think of this listing? Are we getting a physical release of Evergate? Is this physical release merited? So I know I've played a little bit of Evergate. I know that Ed, you have as well. Ed, why don't you go ahead and get us started? What do you think of this story? You buying it?
I think it's true, and I think people are going to double dip in it. There's so many like games that come out digitally that if you love it, it's such a good game, people would double dip. This is the double dip indie thing for Switch for physical games, and Evergate is just so good. And having this box copy, it's one of the things that people going to make collectors and other people get to it. So I believe that is true. If this is a placeholder, I think we'll probably be waiting for a official announcement for it. But I'm excited. Once it drops, I'm buying it. Like, I gotta have this. I'll spend the $40 or $35 or whatever they charge for it, because it's such a great game, and having that physical on it, it's not only support, but it's making my Switch library grow.
Thanks, Ed. I definitely, I wish Dan was here to talk about it. I know this is a game that he's really passionate about. Maybe he can chime in later on Twitter. Jacob or Corey, have either of you played Evergate, and do you have thoughts on this story?
I haven't played it. I do. This game does seem popular enough to warrant a physical release, even if it's through limited run or super rare or whatever. Like most indie games, I'm sure it's going to be $39.99, so that price point kind of matches up. I think this game did a lot better than most people thought it would. I think people who are into indies, this is probably a must play, right? It's on my wish list. I do want to play it at some point, but yeah, I mean, most popular indie games are getting physical releases, right? They just announced the Hades one in the Direct, so this wouldn't surprise me if this got a physical release. We've seen less popular games get physicals, so.
Jacob, any thoughts?
I can't speak on the game, but I do know. So, from my knowledge of the gaming industry, I would say March 31st is absolutely just a placeholder. It's the end of Q1 of the fiscal year, or Q4, depending on when you start your fiscal year. It's also a Wednesday, which is games usually release either on Tuesday or Friday, depending on if they're Nintendo published or everyone else published. And as far as it getting a physical release, P-Cube is the publisher, and they've got like Cat Quest and some other ones. They're pretty big. They're pretty like decently sized publisher that it doesn't surprise me like that it is a physical release. Whether or not the game warrants it, whether like the popularity of it warrants it, I don't know. I haven't really followed it too much. I was much to Dan's chagrin, possibly, I was one of the people that saw it and was like, "Oh, it's Celeste meets Ori and the Blind Forest." So I turned away from it. But yeah, I definitely think it's a placeholder, and I do think we'll be seeing it because of the publisher. I think that it's just a matter of time before they get it out the door.
That's a great point about the date. I think that's a little bit of a red flag for me. We've seen so many stories, whether it's about Zelda or other games, of, hey, there's a trademark's been filed. Amazon posted it, and 99 out of 100 times it ends up being nothing. But I do think this game has done well enough to warrant it. My last thought on this, I'll just say, if it does get a physical release, I think it's yet another success story for indie games on Switch, in that, it was already, they don't need Switch, obviously, but Switch has given such a wider audience reach for these indie games. And I think it just continues to bode well for that business model for indie publishers and Nintendo.
Yeah, I think the Switch is, I would argue, the backbone of the Switch is the indie scene, right? I mean, like, obviously every Nintendo platform has great first-party games, but first-party games can't carry you alone. We saw that with the Wii U, right? So I think the indie scene on Switch is like remember how well the Vita did because of how, the indie scene there, and people are always talking about these great games on Steam. And the Switch is kind of like obviously the evolution of what the Vita was trying to do, mixed with, you can literally link your Steam game to your Switch, right? I mean, it's not just indies anymore either. It's like The Witcher and XCOM and Civ 5 or 6. It's like it's the perfect match. So yeah, indies are gonna this game's gonna do great physically.
Corey, that's a really good point. It makes me wonder, if the vault of history ever opens on Nintendo, and we get a look behind the scenes. I wonder if there will be company discussions about what went wrong with the Wii U and a focus on having this indie experience on the Switch. Because your point about it being the backbone, I think, is a really interesting one. And
especially,
obviously it's better hardware, right? But
yeah, especially because like the Wii U was notoriously hard to develop for or port things to, right? I mean, they had to secure the timed exclusive for Shovel Knight, right? Like that was like the indie for Wii U, and I would love to hear a postmort on Wii U at some point, or somebody write a book about it at some point. But I don't know if it'll ever happen because Nintendo's so tight-lipped about everything. But yeah, I mean, I've had this conversation with Ed too. Is like the Switch is the literal embodiment of what I think they wanted the Wii U to be, right? Where it's the handheld that you can play on your TV and you can play it and watch TV, but like the Wii U was just like, it felt like the R&D was like, we need to put something out that's kind of powerful while we work on the real version. Right. But my Wii U still hooked up over here. Like I have to leave it hooked up because Xenoblade X and Twilight Princess are still on the Wii U, so I have to keep it hooked up.
And it's weird because Wii U is kind of like the birthplace in a sense for a lot of indies before they came to Switch, because PlayStation and Microsoft slowly started to drift away with it. And when
I don't know, I feel like Xbox has kind of gotten back into it with the idea at Xbox stuff. I feel like they're pretty strong, especially with like a bunch of games debuting on Game Pass now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think their presence like on 360 was bigger than it was on Xbox One, and probably in the future, hopefully, like they promote more on Series X. But it's just like when a lot of indies were hitting Wii U, you were expecting all of these games to hit it like that, and seeing a lot of stuff being on Wii U for indies. And then when Switch came,
I don't think the Wii U was great for indies at all. Like they made it there later, but like that platform was so notoriously difficult to develop for that it's like that's why besides the system not selling well, that was like 80% of the reason why third parties didn't support the consoles, because it was so hard to develop for. Which
was weird because it's just like, well, it was running Unreal Engine 3 that a lot of games were running on. But it
wasn't running it well because of the architecture of the console.
Well.
All right, we better go on to our next story here.
Here you go, tangents.
Great discussion. It was making me think about how much I love my Wii U now, but the gaming tablet is just kills me.
Don't get me wrong. I did put 75 hours into Black Flag and about 30 into Arkham Origins on that thing. I have a lot of third-party Wii U games, but a lot of that was because we were covering it for Pow Block in the early days, right? Like I think the biggest game at the time was like, I think Wind Waker was coming, and like we had just one of our first episodes was about the Breath of the Wild trailer before it was called Breath of the Wild, right? Like it was
where Link was a girl.
Yeah. And everybody's like, it's like a girl. His hair's different. His nose is shaped different. He doesn't look like Link.
Yep.
Guess what?
All right, we need to have a postmortem Wii U doc mode sometime then.
Yeah.
And put that in the notes, because I think that would be a great segment. So.
Oh, trust me, I'll put it in the notes. I got you down.
All right, speaking of Zelda, this is straight from the Nintendo eShop. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD will support amiibo. So the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD eShop shows amiibo support on the download screen. What this means for current and future Zelda amiibo is not yet known. So a brief check-in with the panel here. Any predictions? Will we be getting a new amiibo for the game, or reusing previous amiibo such as the Skyward Sword Link amiibo? Many have already pointed out that the Wolf Link amiibo lets fans spawn the legendary creature in Breath of the Wild. What might a Loftwing amiibo let players do in Breath of the Wild 2? So lots to think about here with the announcement of Skyward Sword HD. Corey, we'll let you have first crack at it. What do you think?
I think that around the time that Skyward Sword comes out, they're going to reissue those 30th anniversary amiibo of all of them. I think all the Zelda ones are going to beat, like, because in Breath of the Wild, if you use any Zelda one, it gives you a bunch of great stuff, and if you use any other ones, right, it's just like, here's an apple or a rusty sword or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but all the Zelda ones give you fantastic stuff to use. I would see a similar situation here, although my 10 hours of Skyward Sword, I can't tell you exactly what it's going to give you, right? Like, I just, you know, I'm excited. I think we're going to get a reissue of those 30th anniversary ones, though, for sure. Especially the Skyward Sword one. I bet I would put my Switch on the line to tell you that. You know, I think we're going to get those. So, I mean, they already reissued the champions for Hyrule Warriors, so I don't see why they wouldn't do that for this. Especially because, like, a lot of people are really itching for some Zelda now, and amiibos sell, 3 weeks before they even come out, sell out. Right. So I mean, it's I think that's a no-brainer. I think all these, I bet you get cool. Maybe they add some stuff like cool outfits, like maybe you can play as Breath of the Wild Link in this game at some point, or just something unique like that.
Jacob is a big Zelda fan. Any predictions from you?
Can I actually go last on this one? Because I've got a lot to talk about. Okay.
Yeah. Go for Ed. Jump in there. What do you think?
This is not surprising that they will have amiibo support for it. They got a lot of Zelda amiibo on it, and amiibo still does a big business for Nintendo. So complementing Skyward Sword HD with some new Zelda or some re-released Zelda amiibos, it just works. What we're going to get, maybe a powerful sword, maybe some new content. We'll probably be getting something that will help the adventure, to help you be a little bit more powerful and stuff. Kind of almost like Twilight Princess HD, when you had the Wolf amiibo, and you were able to use that in Breath of the Wild. I'm not surprised by this. I'm more shocked about which amiibo are you going to be using in this game, and how are you going to use it? Like, are we going to get actual Skyward Sword amiibo in it? That's what I want to see. And if you do, can I please get the big penguin thing that you meet when you land on?
Oh, you mean King Dedede?
The Loftwing.
Yeah.
No, you mean King Dedede, the greatest penguin of all time.
Don't nobody care about King Dedede.
You say that now until you lose in Smash, Ed.
Oh,
to me.
My girl Samus is top tier queen. That's my queen.
All right, Jacob, rescue us from this.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through this as fast as I can to try and cut out some time. But I've got a prediction for what a pie in the sky dream and what I actually think Nintendo will give us. Pie in the sky would be that in the trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, we saw Hyrule Castle start to lift out of the ground. So pie in the sky would be that they create a Loftwing amiibo, Link riding it, similar to the Wolf Link for Twilight Princess, and you get a Loftwing that you can fly around, because they're going to introduce some sort, like you get Link's Loftwing, like you got Epona with the Smash Brothers Link amiibo, right? I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to re-release just the Skyward Sword Link.
Boo.
I don't think they're going to re-release any of the other ones unless they do other games, and then they'll tie those into the re-release of those amiibo. And I think it is possible that we get a Zelda in the version of Skyward Sword, and we might even get a Demise, because they do like to do with I think Wind Waker it was, that you could put the Ganon amiibo and he would make the game harder, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And then the Link amiibo would give you hearts, and I think the Zelda amiibo did something as well. But
that's what I need, a harder game.
I do think that they will re-release the Skyward Sword Link, and that they will release a Zelda in Skyward Sword style amiibo, and then possibly a Demise amiibo. I think that would be the coolest thing. Or the
Loftwing?
No. The big dude.
Bruce?
No, the with the feet that you have to fight 3 times walking.
Oh God!
I can't remember its name.
I can't remember.
Like the Eternal, imprisoned. Yeah, they might release one of those. But I love the Loftwing idea. I love that the community's jumping on this. I don't see Nintendo doing it, because Nintendo doesn't really celebrate Zelda. as much as they
Can-
should.
Can
They
I
don't
step in?
celebrate anything except for Mario. Like,
Can
it's
I
just
get-
like no red hat, no sale.
Can I get the Fee amiibo? Like I want Fee like from Skyward Sword, so I could just seeing that like a crystal clear blue like plastic, and what would be cool is that if you put your amiibo on your Switch, it makes a sound effect. So if you put the Skyloft, it makes like a bird call and stuff. Then that is coming on, or feature say hello or something like that. Like I would,
You tap B to the Switch and it tells you how close to dead your Joy-Cons are.
Yeah, right? Oh my god.
I agree with you though, Jacob. I want a Zelda one. Like that's like, as much as I didn't really care to play that game, I loved the story. Like I love the story, and I think that's like, besides Breath of the Wild Zelda, I think that's like the best incarnation of Zelda they've done. Yeah, she's so cheerful and just like fun, and she's just the coolest. I would love to have an amiibo of Zelda.
If you love Legend of Zelda as a series and you have not played Skyward Sword, you need to play Skyward Sword because it has one of the best. It has possibly the best story in any Zelda game.
Yes.
Like, and their relationship, their friendship, their journey together.
It's amazing.
Is amazing. It's like actually heart-wrenching.
I would agree with what you all said, and I love the pie in the sky idea, Jacob. I would do anything to be able to ride a Loftwing around. I do think that there's a good chance that we get the Skyward Sword version of Zelda as an amiibo, just because of the Breath of the Wild Zelda amiibo sold so well.
And also the Wind Waker Zelda as well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So that seems to be something that they're open to. I love the idea of a Demise amiibo, and my pie in the sky dream is that the internal product character for the final Smash Bros. Character is Demise as a completely separate character from Ganon, but that's never happening. So it'll be some random game we've never heard of. So
what about the other villain?
Girahim?
Yeah.
Girahim.
He would be great too, especially as a Smash Bros. Character, and I could see them doing an amiibo for him.
He'd be a fan favorite amiibo. People love Girahim, so. But I want a Vadi amiibo before we get a Girahim amiibo. So.
All right, well, we're going to move on to our next story. So, in the U.S., Nintendo led gaming industry TV ad impressions over the recent 30-day period. So this is from Sicker at mynintendonews.com. Quote, VentureBeat and iSpot TV are reporting that during the period of the 16th of January to the 15th of February, Nintendo topped video game ad impressions in the United States. Nintendo advertisements in the USA accounted for a hefty 79.3% of TV ad impressions for the video game industry. The Kyoto-based company had 307.3 million TV ad impressions, which were generated by 15 commercials that ran over 1,700 times. The big game, which was advertised, of course, was Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury for the Nintendo Switch, which launched this month worldwide. And the top 5 companies for video game advertisements in the United States for that time period was number 1, Nintendo, 2, Gamefly, 3, PlayStation, 4, Nordeus, and 5, Milestone. So, panel, we'll start with Ed this time. Nintendo has been dominating in sales for an extended period of time. Why has the company suddenly decided to put so much of their resources into advertising? What is the strategy here, and does it signal a shift or a new phase in the company's business plan? What do you think, Ed?
They want to meet their goal of hitting a certain number of switches, and when people are hearing good things about it, and when people are seeing this commercial to be like, hey, this is a new way to play games that you guys could go out and play, hitting the hardcore and casual at the same time, they just be like, we're going to market our product out there because it's more available for people to get, and it's a big hit in the gaming community. Come into our ecosystem and find out what we're all about, why people love our product. So they're going hard with advertising this because they know that it's something that's catching their eye and it can get people on board. They're gonna go as hard as they can. With this strategy here, they're taking advantage of it. They're seeing the sales go up. They're meeting we talked about their sales projections and how kind of they exceeded them. So if they want to hit that goal, they got to go hard on this marketing. If no one else is going to be like marketing their system and stuff, Nintendo's going to take that space and do it. And they know that if they could get one of their first party games in your hand and it catches your eye, they're going to market that hard. You know, even on Twitter and stuff, like they'll sometimes be like, it's National Dog Day, here's Poochie from Yoshi, and then they'll have Yoshi's Crafted World right by it. So they're doing like kind of cool things to market some of their stuff, and they'd be like, oh, that's a cool amiibo that goes to that game, I never heard of it, let me go check it out. People could go on YouTube, on Nintendo's page, watch it and be like, oh, okay. And they'll go out, maybe go get the game and stuff. So Nintendo's just trying to use ways to get more people to come into their ecosystem and buy their system. And, you know, this is a good way to do it.
Well, they certainly are the masters of creating merchandise with their products. But this is a change in strategy. They have not been at the top of the advertising heap before. Corey, any thoughts about why now, especially when Switches are already selling so much?
I think they're starting to see, like, maybe not the end of the road for Switch, but like I think maybe they're starting to see where the Switch could possibly plateau a little bit, right? And maybe they're trying to get a little bit extra oomph out of the products that they have now. Maybe they're trying to sell them now because in the fall we're getting a Switch Pro and they want to move that product. Right, and I'm not just saying that because I want to Switch Pro. I'm like, if your product is selling so well, why would you start, advertising so much right now when your product has been the leading product for like 27 of the last 28 months, right? Like, why would you start doing that now? And the only thing that I can really think of is like, you want to move units because you're about to put a new product out in the fall. And the less inventory you have to remove off of shelves, the better, or repackage or rebrand or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's what I can think of. Also, like the big game, right, is a great way to get a lot of eyes on your product, right? So,
right.
I mean, that's obviously a big thing, but to me, it's like, we don't have any huge games on the horizon as of right now. I mean, Mario Golf aside, guys, there's not like a huge AAA new game for the foreseeable future. So like, they got to be moving product to put out a new one, right? Like that's all my marketing brain can think of is like, that's what they're doing. So
that has me curious as well. I do. Looking at some of the other evidence that seems to be popping up on the news wire about rumors of Switch Pro and stuff, I do wonder if they're trying to clean house now. I also wonder a little bit about it being the final financial quarter, and if they know they've had a really awesome year, if they're trying to just knock it out of the park with this last little bit. Jacob, did you have any thoughts on this story?
I'm actually going a different route with this, and part of it's to throw shade, but also because it's just kind of the truth. Sony and Microsoft are going to market what? We have no games and good luck finding our systems. Like, it might not be a matter of Sony and Microsoft not putting as much as Nintendo, but more just them putting less. And Nintendo pushing the same amount like they always do, but because Sony and Microsoft backed off so much, Nintendo rose up.
Yeah, they did. Microsoft did say, like, we're not going to advertise until we have this thing on the market, right? Like, we'll advertise Game Pass, but like, we don't, like, their big game is Halo, and it comes out in the fall, and Phil Spencer already came out and said we're not going to have product on the shelves till at least summer, right? Also, to Laurent's point in the chat, they do have 2 special edition consoles out right now with the Mario one and the Monster Hunter one coming, right? So that might be a little bit of it, but
Sorry, Laurent. Because we are going to get that Monster Hunter in America, in the U.S. But no, like it's interesting that you said. I'll have to go back and read the article because I feel like I've heard this several times that Nintendo actually was the top, or at the very least the second most marketed game in the gaming industry on like television and stuff like that. And it's actually a big complaint of mine is that Nintendo's Twitter account is mostly marketing. It's not like just fun and hype.
Sure.
It's mostly like, here's this new game that we're selling, and so we're going to tweet about it for the next 30 days. Mario, if I'm not mistaken, this is the last big Mario thing, because Mario Golf comes out after the 31st, which would be the end of Mario's 35th anniversary. So this is the last big Mario push for them as far as the anniversary thing goes. So that would make sense for them to put a little bit more marketing. But I really do believe that it's just that Sony and Microsoft just don't have anything to market right now.
Yeah,
they just don't.
Yeah. I wanna. Before we move on, I'm sorry. I know.
No,
go. To LeRon's point, right? He's saying there might be a shortage of APUs and some components for a 4K Switch or whatever, or the Switch Pro. The Switch Pro is not going to be for everyone, right? I know I might just be kind of naive or whatever, but a lot of people are going to be fine with a Switch Lite or a base Pro model. You look at the 3DS, you look at every Nintendo console they've ever redesigned, right? Like that more powerful one only had a handful of things that would either work better or were exclusive. I think the new 3DS only had 2 exclusive games, right? It was Xenoblade Chronicles and Minecraft, I think, were the only 2 exclusive games. So I mean, the 4K is going to give the hardcore people that with 4K setups and, you know, nice whatever. I don't think everybody's going to be rushing out to get a 4K Switch like they were. You know, I think if people find a Switch for their kids, or, you know, if dad goes on a business trip and gets a Switch Lite, like this 4K Switch isn't going to be for them. It's going to be for, you know, people like us who, I mean, I have a nice 4K monitor here. I would really love to see Zelda sparkle and run at 60 frames a second in 4K or whatever, but I don't know. To me, there's a lot of factors into this marketing thing. I think it's to move units, to get units off the shelf so they can put a new product out.
Well, Corey, I think that's an interesting point. It actually leads us into our next story, which is that the Nintendo president actually said the Switch is in the middle of its lifespan right now, which I think is really interesting in the context of what you just said, also of this news that came out today from a pretty good source that the Switch Pro is coming later this year. So that's kind of in the back
sources
today. About. Right.
Or swords.
So let me do this really quick.
Pass.
This is from Olivia Gentry at ZeldaUniverse.net. Nintendo president Furukawa states that he believes the Switch is currently in the middle of its lifespan, and that there is much more that can be done with it in the future. With the Switch turning 4 years old this March, it's possible we won't see a new or upgraded console from Nintendo until at least 2025, maybe. Furukawa also explains that Nintendo is always doing technical and market research. Their hardware and software teams are in the same building and are constantly communicating on how to bring new and fun experiences to its console. When making a new console, Furukawa explains that Nintendo considers less about the timing of releasing one and more whether or not they can offer a new experience. Jacob, we'll start with you this time. Given the absence of an announcement about a Switch Pro during the recent Nintendo Direct, what does this statement from Furukawa suggest about the future of the Switch? Are you buying or selling the idea of a Switch Pro coming anytime soon?
So I don't have to eat my shoe on this one, like another member of the podcast, but I've actually, as time has gone on, I'm now on Ed's side that we won't be seeing a Switch Pro until late in the year. They just keep passing up the milestones to make the announcement. And at this point, it has to be an announced in summer and released as their big thing. Because as the other thing is with Breath of the Wild having no news, and like obviously in the Direct they didn't talk about Metroid or Bayonetta. They haven't set up a holiday game, so why not a holiday system and game, like a middle of the road to top of the line game and a great system to play it on, sort of thing.
Corey, what about you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I'm good.
To Jacob's point, like the game that would have sold the Switch Pro this spring would have been Monster Hunter Rise, and they didn't do it, right? They're making a base Switch model for that game, so you don't want to make a a console adjustment announcement without a big game to go along with it. To me, that's Breath of the Wild 2. Maybe that's even Bayonetta 3 with like a higher frame rates or higher resolution with those frame rates. Maybe that's Metroid Prime 4. I think it's coming later this year. I think they're gonna I think it's gonna come during the Breath of the Wild 2 presentation announcement. We're gonna get. I still think there's gonna be more Zelda later this year, right? I know their focus is on Skyward Sword until July, but we always get some sort of direct in September, whether it's a mini direct, whether it's a game specific direct. We always do. For me, that's a 35th anniversary Zelda celebration where we're going to get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker in the fall. We're going to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 for next February or March, and there's going to be a Switch Pro, and it's going to have Zelda plastered all over it.
Can I call a shot real quick?
Yeah,
I just thought about this. So I think I'm thinking Metroid Prime 4. I'm rewriting what I'm saying. Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the holiday release with a Switch Pro base Switch Pro model, just typical black, red and blue, whatever colors they choose, right? And then in 2022, a Breath of the Wild 2 and Legend of Zelda edition of the Switch Pro will be released. It'll be the same system, but with that Zelda makeover. And then that's how because that'll sell. What people who have bought the Switch Pro will buy the Zelda. They'll return it in and buy the Zelda version if they are fans of Zelda.
Or they're just crazy and spend another.
Or they're just crazy and buy two. Yeah.
So you think that they're farther along on the new Metroid game then?
Yeah.
I do. I think that they've been pushing hires a lot. Like you see it every week. There's more and more people being hired, and I think
that tells me that it's further away.
But that's the thing. But that's the thing I've been telling everybody with the new building with all the hires. Metroid Prime 4. It's not ready to go. They're still building that game. We don't even know.
They're still hiring in key positions, though.
They're not. They're not hiring key positions, though. They're hiring a couple, but it's mostly like artists and just touch up things.
Right, and I feel like with them moving in their new buildings, doing some of the hires and stuff, they're still building Metroid. Nothing in that. I don't feel like nothing in Metroid is ready to go. I don't think they got a shredder cut yet.
I think it's farther along than we think. I don't think it's this year. I think it's their holiday game next year.
Well, yeah.
Ed, we got to keep it moving. What's your final word? Are you buying or selling Switch Pro? Your name's been invoked several times regarding this conversation. What do you think?
I think Switch Pro is not going to happen no time soon. I think Nintendo they are probably looking at some chips and design stuff and everything. As for a Switch Pro and everything, if they do decide to do it, it probably won't be until like next year. But knowing Nintendo, if sales are falling down, that's when they'll release Switch Pro. If Switch sales are not dropping, they're just going to start working on a whole brand new system for a new release. There's no reason that they're going to be like, well, you know what, we need to upgrade our system. If they're selling bunkers of what they got with Switch and Switch Lite, there's no need for a Pro, regardless of what the games that may be attached with it. Regardless of Bayonetta, Metroid, or Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Regardless of all of that, if the system is selling like hotcakes, they don't need Switch Pro just yet. If once they start dropping down and Xbox and PlayStation name starts taking over, then that's when the Switch Pro is going to happen.
Go for it.
I was going to say, I think like you're probably right, Ed. When they start seeing their sales kind of start dipping and they need to like refresh the system, that's when the Switch Pro is going to come. I also think the Switch is just going to be an iPad situation where there's no way they can just go back to like a DS and a home console. That it's got to be some version of what the Switch is moving forward forever.
I will say this: Metroid, Zelda, and Bayonetta is not the attachment to the Switch Pro. It's going to be Mario. Why? Because this is Nintendo, and Mario is such an iconic character. Their leading character. They're going to push Switch Pro to push Mario and
but
connect.
Mario wasn't even pushed on the Switch, man. The Switch Mario came way later.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Odyssey 2 is due around the same time that they could release a Switch Pro. I agree with Ed on that. We got to keep moving.
Yeah, let's keep moving. We're going to talk in circles forever.
But I will just say this. I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to think I'll believe it when I see it for the Switch Pro, because Nintendo's made it pretty clear they're not even doing a Switch Pro. And you know,
that's what they said about the 3DS, and then Reggie pulled one out of his pocket with one of the little nubs for a stick.
They always say that.
I don't know. Right. Again, we could talk in circles on this. All right. Our final story, briefly tonight, is Landmark study finds link between playing video games and well-being. So this is from Rich Harity at newsatlas.com. A first-of-its-kind study from Oxford University has investigated the relationship between well-being and time spent playing video games using novel industry data from 2 popular video games. The surprising findings revealed a small correlation between longer playtimes and positive well-being. Using anonymized telemetry data supplied by Electronic Arts and Nintendo of America, the research ultimately looked at 2 games, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, and Animal Crossing New Horizons. Players were invited to opt into the research, and alongside objective telemetry data, they completed surveys asking about the emotional well-being and motivation for gaming. Over 3,000 players ultimately contributed to the study, and results surprised the Oxford team. A small but significant correlation between time spent playing and positive well-being was detected. Jacob, we'll start with you. What do you think about the study? Any surprises here? Do you think the results would have been different if they had tested different games?
No. I think overall, gaming as a whole, if you look at it critically like that, it accomplishes 3 things within you, right? It gives you an escape from the realities of the real world, whether they be crushing or great, whatever. It gives you something, a different place to bring your brain, your imagination and your mind to. It gives you a sense of accomplishment because you are accomplishing tasks, whether it be getting a new kill-death ratio in a shooter or solving the hardest puzzle in a game. And then it also it gives you a sense of control, which is what a lot of people need in their life. They need something that they have control over, whether it's how clean their house is, something that they're doing in a video game, or just like their jobs. Like some people enjoy being top of the food chain at their job because they want that sense of control. And games accomplish all of that in one thing, no matter what game you're playing. So I don't think it would have been any different. I do think that they picked excellent games to do this with. I think this gave them a much broader audience to study from. But I don't think it would have been different no matter what game they chose.
I like the way you broke that down with those 3 factors. And it certainly, I think, returns to that idea of Animal Crossing deserved Game of the Year for 2020. Ed, what about you? What are your reactions to this?
I love the study that they did it, picking like your well-being when you're playing casual games, or just video games in general and stuff. Most times they do a study, they want to see how aggressive you get or how violent video games make you react to stuff, and there's always a negative context that they're trying to reach for. And seeing something like this to be like, no, this is the positive aspects of gaming, and with games like this, I think a lot of people don't realize how well that E-rated games sell more than sometimes mature games and stuff. A lot of people who are playing E-rated games, Animal Crossing is a big factor with the numbers that they sold, is that sometimes people want to play a game to relax and enjoy themselves. They don't want to go in sometimes thinking too hard or feeling like, they didn't get to shoot the alien and they died and stuff like that. Sometimes people want to be like, I had a bad day at home and I want to just play something very easy and very relaxing. So it's good that we got a study like this. And I'm proud that 3,000 people, wanted to do this. Like that's really good to see that people are willing to try something different and show that, hey, we can play relaxing games and well-being games and give you our results. So I'm glad that they did this.
Corey, final word?
I couldn't have said either one any better. Like, I agree with both of them. Like, I think games give you a sense of you can be somewhere else. You have a sense of control. You can kind of be, imagine who you are in these games. Like, it's just video games are great, and I think more of the world needs to realize, like, games aren't just Call of Duty and just blowing people's heads off. Like, you have these different experiences. Like, I don't care for as big of a Destiny fan as I am, I don't really care for shooters, right? Like, I would rather play Zelda or Valkyria Chronicles or Fire Emblem. You know, like Destiny's an anomaly in my gaming life, right? Like I would rather play these other games, and you know, it's the sooner the world realizes that games aren't this Mortal Kombat, Call of Duty type thing all the time, Grand Theft Auto thing all the time. It's I think people just need to give games a chance, other games a chance, right? Like Animal Crossing's the best-selling game of the year last year. It's nowhere close to being what GTA and Call of Duty are, you know. So,
Corey, let me ask you this: as we kind of wrap this up, then, given the results of this study and mental health, and you think everybody said in the panel, how do you see this relating to what you want Boss Rush Games to be?
I mean, I want Boss Rush Games to be an escape, and I want it to be a place where people can feel like they can be themselves without being, you know, harassed. You know, whether you're a person of color or is, you know, sexually orientated a certain way or gay, or you know what I mean. Like I want people to express themselves, be themselves. This is a release. They can have a place to call home or call, you know, friends, and this whole platform. This is what we built it on, right, Ed? We said day zero. I say this constantly on shows. I'm going to say it until Boss Rush Games just doesn't exist anymore. We built this platform on the phrase "be better," be better to people. You know, my grandma always told me treat people how you would want to be treated, and that's, you know, I've made mistakes creating content, right, throughout my career. I've said things that I'm not proud of at some point in my life. I'm 1,000% sure of that. This is a place to grow. This is a place to make friends. This is a place to be who you are. You know, everybody here is wonderful. We've had very little issues with anybody. I just want this to be a place where people can feel relaxed and not, you know, timid to say something, you know, or be who they are. And that's the goal, right? Like I just...
It seems like games do provide a unique opportunity for community in that sense. And with community comes improved mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That was our extended family news segment.
Sorry, guys.
Ed, take it away.
All right. We're going to do a link code, but we're going to hold that off to next week. We're going to hop into doc mode. The Nintendo Direct has come and gone, and we just want to focus a little more on this presentation. We know more games are coming, and with more announcements bound to come. Switch is set with games till August. So, team, thinking about the Direct and hearing that Switch has games set till August, are we excited and relaxed, or still curious what will come? To start this off, there is a rumor, we don't know if it's true, throwing some salt on it with some flavor, with some butter, and mixing it up in the pan, that Tony Hawk 1 and 2 Skater may come to Switch. Nintendo and Activision are playing around with it because Crash 4 is coming, but it would be interesting. We know Disco Elysium is dropping in the summer, and with a ton of games that they showed at the Nintendo Direct, there are still more reveals. Evergate, where in our story, may be physical and dropping on it. So that's something to look forward to. But what did you guys think? Like, me and Corey, we did a recap of the Nintendo Direct, but I want to hear from you, Jacob and David. What did you guys think of the Nintendo Direct? What did you take away for it? Are you, like, was it good? Are you relaxed or still curious on what they got? I'm going to start with you, David.
Well, I was going to say, I listened to the recap that you guys did, and I really enjoyed hearing your thoughts on that. I would say for me, it was okay. I do think people expect too much from Nintendo sometimes. Like, I just want to be like, what will Nintendo do that will actually make you happy?
Oh, Metroid, Zelda, all the Zelda, all the Mario.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous expectations sometimes. That being said, for me personally, it was just an okay Direct. I was glad that they announced Skyward Sword HD. I was glad that they announced the DLC for Hyrule Warriors. Mm-hmm. Some of the other games look okay.
Which I gotta give to you, David, that you predicted that and that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was a given. I mean, if they didn't, I feel like I would have just been more shocked than anything. But my disappointment with the Direct is, and Jacob probably has similar feelings on this, it was 4 days or 3 days before the 35th anniversary of Legend of Zelda, and they didn't mention the anniversary once in the Direct. And then, of course, we know on the day of, they didn't tweet about it. So that was a little disappointing to me. That would be the only criticism I would have of the Direct. But, you know, I'm really happy that for the first time in 500-something days, we got a Direct, and they seem to be pretty clear that there's another one coming this year. So I'm going to give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt and say thank you. May I have another?
Yes. What about you, Jacob?
So a couple things I want to personally clear up. This hasn't been the first Direct in 500 days. They've done partner Directs. They've done
but this was
directs.
like a first
those are still Directs. I'm being technical, but those are still Directs.
You're the
it's
worst.
Not a full Nintendo Direct.
You're the worst. You're a terrible Nintendo fan. You're not angry.
I'm not. But this, so like, I don't understand, y'all. This was like an awesome Direct for me, man.
Mm-hmm.
My community, the Otter Kingdom community, has been super into community game nights, which we do every Saturday at 7 p.m. And this had that dodgeball game. That game looks super cool. I hope it's I'll pay like $30 for it, or free if it has like pay to gain stuff type of deal. But that game looked really cool. Fall Guys is coming to the Switch, which is only a matter of time, but I cannot wait to run around as a little Metroid or Link or Mario Fall Guy bean. That's going to be awesome for community game nights. Mario Golf, that Super Rush thing, the running to your ball, that is like so much better than the Mario Tennis game that they released on the Switch. That game was great. I loved Mario Tennis, but Mario Golf Super Rush looked awesome. Neon White looks like a speedrunner's dream. I don't know if y'all remember that one from the Direct, but that was the one with the, like, basically it was card first-person shooter gameplay.
It had real, like, the movement had real, like, Overwatch vibes to it, like real, like, fast-paced Overwatch vibes.
That's from the maker of Donut County, by the way.
That's
if you
insane.
Didn't know that. Like his spectrum of game, or their spectrum of gameplay, is off the charts because they went from Donut County to this thing. Obviously, the Hyrule Warriors DLC was cool. I think it is really weird that they didn't even talk about it. They put it on the screen for like 20 seconds and didn't say a thing of what was on there. Don't even get me started on Nintendo's lack of respect for the Zelda series and the 35th anniversary. I could spend an entire podcast just yelling at the microphone about that. And so much JRPG love and tactical RPG love. Oh my gosh. Like, this was, if you're an RPG fan, this is your year on Nintendo consoles, man. Because not only do they have Pyra and Mithra coming to Switch, coming to Smash Brothers, which is super cool, and like that Sheik and Zelda melee style, but they've got Square Enix, I think announced 2 different RPGs. Plus, they've got Bravely Default coming out, and then, although I will admit that the Salt Iron RPG, Triangle Strategy, I freaked out at first.
Triangle Strategy. Yeah.
If you look at it, so they've got the red, blue, and green, and go back and watch it, and the green, the guy that they showed on like the green flames looks like a very strangely designed Link, like they're going in a new thing, or maybe they gave Zelda to like a new, like, here's another indie developer that has the rights to Zelda for a game, and I freaked out thinking it was Zelda news, and then it was like, oh, it's Triangle Strategy, okay, which, by the way, that's a dumb name, and they're gonna keep it because they did that with Octopath Traveler too.
Great, I hope they keep it. I want to talk about how dumb it is for the next 3 years, but how great the game is.
Yeah. Oh no, it looks so good.
Compared to something called Infinite Undiscovery from PlayStation 3.
Hey. That game was very mediocre at best.
Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Advance, I love those games. Advance Wars, War Groove on the Switch. I'm a big Tactics RPG fan, so I'm all for that. But no, yeah, this Direct was popping, man. I don't know. And then the Joy-Con. Oh, mwah.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of the Direct. I managed to snag 2, one for myself and one for Rebellity, my girlfriend, from Target today. Hopefully gonna be able to snag a 3rd for a giveaway for my channel, so be looking forward to that maybe. But man, this Direct was awesome. Anybody who says it's anything less than an A, I don't understand. Y'all.
I need
y'all clearly aren't Nintendo fans.
My frustration with the Joy-Con thing, because look, and I feel the same way, Jacob. But I think we should always just. There's no reason we should criticize Nintendo when they give us that much stuff. But I do wish sometimes that Nintendo wouldn't create this intentional shortage of stuff, because scalpers buying up those Joy-Cons frustrates me to no end.
I know. I want a pair, but I know they're going to go on sale at like 4:00 in the morning, and by the time Wario64 sends me the notification, they're going to be gone, and you're going to have to pay a premium for them. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
But I know Nintendo, and Nintendo's just like, look, we're going to have stock shipped out to stores for you guys to go in and buy, so you don't have to buy from the scalpers. They say
Nintendo. They say that all the time, though, and then you go in and there's like 3 of them in there, right?
Well, yeah, that's true.
So this is a big complaint that I've had for every company anywhere, no matter what genre you're talking about. Pre-orders should never ever run out, because if all you have to do is say, hey, if you agree to this, you are paying right now and you will not get your money back. You are signing up for this and you will get it. We promise, but you just have to wait. Because then it's like, oh, hey, we got 7,000 Joy-Con pre-orders, make 8,000 Joy-Con and send 1,000 to store shelves. And then the people who waited, they can be the ones who fight over them. Fighting over pre-orders is nuts to me. That should never be a thing.
I think because pre-orders is a problem now because of the bot situation. Due to PlayStation and Microsoft, and it's not their fault, but they maybe be able to do something about it. But I'm just saying that right now, bot usage has just grown exponentially because of the PlayStation and Microsoft. Normally, when Skyward was doing everything, they were waiting in line with everybody else to get like 3 or 4 things.
This seems like another full podcast type discussion that we could probably have at some point.
It is. But to the bot situation, if they made pre-orders you pre-order it, we will make your copy because you've paid for it already, then the bot situation would be gone. It doesn't matter how those people would just be losing money, because anyone who needed it that bad would have pre-ordered it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will say with the games from the Direct, I think yes, it was good to see that we got the Zelda Joy-Cons, the Monster Hunter Pro controller. I'm so glad I was able to get that from Best Buy. Hopefully the system is a pre-order and everything.
None of this stuff is available on Amazon, by the way. None of it. None of it. What do I pay for Prime for?
I think the games that they showed, whether you like the Direct or not, like the presentation was well done. There's something for everybody that's there. Dan wrote Dan wrote an article on it. I have a piece up on Boss Rush Games along with them, where we talk about like what we took away from it, and then like the 5 new IPs that's coming for that system. I think Zelda, Bayo, and Metroid is going to be for E3 with their Nintendo Direct. I think what would have happened if they did show those 3? Well, will we still be talking about it, or will we just be like, well, the Direct was the best because they showed the game that I'm looking forward to?
The February or the early year Direct is always games like this, right? Like they teased Splatoon 3. Nobody that's probably their biggest underdog game at the point.
I forgot about Splatoon.
Like that. Yeah. They announced their biggest new IP in the third game. How many times do you get the same IP on a single Nintendo console, right? Like that was a huge quote going around when Reggie was still there. Like, hey, we try to evaluate our IP and see what fits. We usually only try to make one game per console and then move on to the next console with the next iteration in the series, right? And the fact that we're getting Splatoon 3, granted, Splatoon 2, basically like a 1.5-ish thing. They needed a game at launch. That was a killer game at launch. Splatoon 3 is going to be Animal Crossing big, I think.
Yeah, and it's been 5 years of development for that. So like there's been now. Jacob, I want to ask you, like, if they did show a Breath of the Wild 2, and yes, Anuma did come in and just say he shaded everybody, the whole Zelda fan base.
That's because they're about to talk about Skyward Sword. You really think people want to hear about Skyward Sword and not Breath of the Wild 2? I'm sorry. I know people like Skyward Sword. I like the story of Skyward Sword. I don't care to play it. I'm going to play it. Okay.
I'm going to fight.
But if you didn't come out and say something about Breath of the Wild 2 beforehand, people would have just annihilated this direct, no matter what games they liked.
That's true.
David, what would you have liked to see if they did the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer? Is it continuing from Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, like mixing it in, or do we get more details from the 2019 presentation at E3?
I think my only complaint, and I appreciate that they even just said more news is coming, like that was a nice acknowledgement, but it would have been nice if they had even just a small teaser just to give us a little something or explain just like, hey, COVID is set. Here's why there's been a delay, and we're working on getting you a new trailer in June, or so, just to give people a little bit more to go on. That would have been satisfying for me.
Because we're Nintendo, and we'll put the game out when it's ready, and you'll like it.
And we know that Monolith Soft is helping them. So the Nintendo, so the Zelda team and Monolith once again combined together to make this big world. Yes, they probably are using some of the same assets, but they probably are creating new assets. And once again, Anuma and them just like, how do we improve upon this game? Because we just don't want to make this feel like this is Breath of the Wild 1.5. We want to make if we're doing Breath of the Wild 2, we really want to make sure that we're continuing the story in the same universe, but we want it to grow.
I want to point out, by the way, side tangent. It'll take 30 seconds, I promise. See, Monolith has 4 teams, by the way. 4 teams. One's working on Breath of the Wild. One's working on their new IP. Right? What are the other 2 teams doing? Are they one better be porting Xenoblade Chronicles X, and one better be giving us Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's all I can say. I started playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again, and that's all I have to say. The end.
David,
Ed.
Do you think that because of Monolith Soft having kind of like a 2-party system with Xenoblade, you think that idea is playing in with Zelda and Link fighting together?
Please give me Zelda. Please give me Zelda.
Yeah,
please.
I mean, and there have been other Zelda games in the past where you can play other characters besides Link. Majora's Mask had a moment where you could play another character. You can play Zelda for short periods of time in Spirit Tracks. So it's actually been done in small quantities before. So I think I would be more surprised than not if we can't play Zelda this time around.
I think Zelda's going to be the new mechanic. I think she's going to be more of like a ranged character. I bet you're going to be able to swap them. I think you're going to use them both. I mean, Ed and I had a huge conversation with Celeste on this, like over the summer, I think, about how Zelda, you're going to be able to swap between them to solve puzzles. You're going to be able to, use them to like distract enemies while the other one uses other attacks. Like it's gonna be the new mechanic.
It's Switch Online 2-player co-op.
No, don't give me that garbage. Don't give me that garbage.
Or Uncle Play, or hold on one second. Or maybe they actually did take something from Platinum Games and look at Astral Chain. I'm just saying.
Okay, it's time to move on. Ed's getting into weird territory here.
Just saying that Anuma and the team are probably thinking of so many ideas for this game, and if they release something and they be like, you know what, they're doing their best not to talk because they probably don't want to keep delaying this game, pushing it back. Everybody knows that the Zelda games have a history of being delayed for 5 or 6 years or something before they released it.
They're gonna delay. They're gonna keep delaying it. They're just gonna sell $60 ports and just keep delaying it and banking all that cash. They're gonna be like, oh, Oh, what Zelda's not on Switch? Wind Waker? Here you go, $60. Burp.
But Nintendo is good of keeping me hungry. It's starving me. Like, I will see that trailer. I would be like, I want this game. I want this game.
And they're going to keep giving you 30-second trailers. And they're like, oh, here's Twilight Princess. Oh, here's a N64 double pack of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. Oh, you want them GBA games? We're going to delay Breath of the Wild 2 again. Here you go. You know, this is what's going to happen.
So,
but yeah. Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
Well, I just wanted to cap onto that of I actually am the opposite, is that I just want to hear a release date, and then I don't want them to say anything else. I want to go into Breath of the Wild 2 completely unaware of what's going on and what the story is and what the mechanics are. I want to experience that for myself the first time playing the game, not watching Nintendo Treehouse play it. And then the other thing I wanted to say is, if you want an idea of how a Zelda and Link co-op style Zelda game would work, play Hunted the Demon's Forge. I don't know if any of y'all have ever heard that.
I remember that game. It was like this kind of like darker, kind of like medieval Gears of War style clone game where like there was a ranged character and a kind of a close up melee character.
Yeah.
And they would be on separate tiers in the world, and like the melee character would be like stuck, and the range character would have to figure out like a puzzle to be able to get the melee character moving through the next area. And like it's so good. So that would be how I'd want that to work. But I really don't want to hear much more about Breath of the Wild 2. I just want to experience it.
Yeah.
So last question for everybody.
Oh boy.
What is the one game that you took away from the Direct, and what is the one game you're hoping that they'll show in the next Direct, which will probably be at E3? Corey.
The game I'm most excited for from this Direct is Mario Golf. I love Mario Golf, and this one looks amazing. The next Direct, are we going like games that are already announced or like a new game?
Just anything new, something unexpected.
Give me Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Okay.
They've been teasing Xenoblade stuff. They added more Xenoblade characters to Smash. There's Xenoblade coming, guys. It's something. I don't care if it's a port of X or 3, but just give me more Xenoblade.
Okay, Jacob, what is one game that you took from this Direct, and what's one game that you're hoping for the next Direct that they show?
Skyward Sword HD coming to the Nintendo Switch. That's my favorite game from this Direct. I'm really excited to play that again, especially with the motion controls. Love the motion controls in that game.
You make me sad, Jacob.
You know what, buddy? I'll always be here for you. Whenever life makes you feeling too happy, I can always be here to bring you down.
Thanks.
And then I want so badly from Nintendo for them to give the Kid Icarus IP to either Bandai Namco or Atlas, and for them to make that game, that IP, in a Demon Souls, Dark Souls style game. I think a realistic Kid Icarus, hard as nails game would be so cool.
It would be cool. Ed and I have actually talked about a Kid Icarus if it was in the vein of Breath of the Wild, but more vertical. With I think that was cool, but this is probably better. It's probably a better idea. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Jacob, same questions. I mean, not you, Jacob. I'm sorry, David. Same questions to you.
Well, we didn't give enough love to DC Superhero Girl, so no. I probably will. I'll admit I'm probably going to buy that, though. I think my kids will like that game. My favorite game, like Jacob, was Skyward Sword HD, and I also am a fan of the motion controls. But for sake of saying something else, I will say
company obligation for Zelda Dungeon.
I'm pretty excited for the DLC for Age of Calamity. That's one of my top 3 favorite Zelda games ever. So I'm pretty excited for that. Thinking about future Nintendo Directs, I really want Mario Kart 9, and I actually hope that they take a page out of Diddy Kong's Racing, which is one of my all-time favorite Nintendo race games, and have some sort of campaign or story mode in there that involves racing, because I loved that as a kid. And I'm trying to think of like where can Mario Kart go next, and that's an idea that I would love to see as a story there.
Can I ask you something about Mario Kart 9, David? Do you want them to do like a Smash style thing where they just add all kinds of characters from different IP in it, or do you just want to keep the Mario characters.
I don't want it to be a Nintendo Kart. I mean, maybe it's because I grew up playing Mario Kart and I'm attached to the idea and I don't like change. But, the only thing that I feel like it's missing, I don't think we need random characters in there from other, franchises. I like the Mario feel, but I love a good story. And I think there's a way, Diddy Kong did it to where, the evil Whizpig had, these powers, and you had to go do these races to win back artifacts, I think, to defeat him. And it would be really fun to do something like that with Mario Kart.
Or a more realistic Mario Kart where you can like spend time specking your wheels and stuff. And,
yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, the game that I took away from this direct was Neon White. I love the traversal. It reminds me of Titanfall 2. Like, I feel like this is going to be a new IP that I'm just going to really dig and just have fun with. And I'll probably do a review for it. Like, it looks really good, and it got me like pumped and stuff. The one game that I'm hoping that they show in the next Nintendo Direct is Metroid Prime 4. I want to see what, with all this new hire, with all of these Western developers coming together to make a Metroid game, I want to know, are we getting new powers? Are we going to get new movements? What is the world we're going to be on? Like, are we going to have voice acting? What's the story and everything? I really want to see what they bring. And what's the amiibo going to be like? Are we going to get a Switch Metroid edition of it, where we literally get like clear, kind of like the amiibo with the Metroid, where it was like the Metroid on it that broke out the glass, like a clear Pro controller with that, or even Joy-Cons showing Metroids into it, like artwork or something.
I can feel Larry Giver just melting in his chair right now. I can just feel him just melting.
Like, I want to see what they do, and that would be exciting. And maybe just like, they make that Metroid Prime 4 announcement, and then bam, here's Metroid Fusion and Metroid Zero Mission for the Switch, all HD res and ready to go.
I bet they show a small trailer for Metroid Prime 4 this summer, and with the follow-up to a Metroid Prime HD trilogy collection for Switch this year. I bet they do. The more and more I think about it, or I think they lead with a Metroid Prime 4 trailer, and then they lead into a trailer for the Metroid trilogy, HD trilogy. I do think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a little bit different than the other Metroid Prime games, just based on who they've hired. I think it's going to be a little bit more Halo and a little less Metroid. Although the exploration and stuff is still going to be key, scanning things, terminals, all that kind of stuff. But, dude, they've hired some pretty big names from other first-person shooter companies that I think it's going to be Halo for Switch. I think what they'll probably have to learn is, how do we make a connected world? Because those developers have only made games that are based off of levels. They haven't made a connected world together. So to see them come together, they'll have the gameplay and the environments and the physics and stuff. I mean, you have environment designers for that reason, right? I mean, like, they hired someone from Jedi Fallen Order, and that whole game is a connected, like, all those hubs are connected worlds. So I think you'll be able to be just fine. But again, probably a huge discussion for another day.
I will say this, and we're going to get to our plugs and stuff. I mean, our playing with power. If they would have got someone from Insomniac, I think I probably would have passed out. Because if someone from Insomniac would have joined Retro Studios to help with the Metro Prime game, I think I literally would have lost it. I would have been like,
weapons.
What is this game now? Like, Yeah. So everybody, that has been our doc mode for the Nintendo Direct. We want to know what you guys think. You can email us at powblock@gmail.com.
Nope, Powblock
hit
Podcast.
us up.
Nintendo
Powblock Podcast.
No, what is it? Nintendo Powblock@gmail.com.
Nintendo Powblock@gmail.com. I got to get all of that together. I got to redesign some things. We want to know what you guys took away from the Direct, what you guys want to see in the future Direct. What are you hoping for Breath of the Wild 2? Is it going to be Zelda and Link together fighting? I'm excited. What would you think of Bayo, Metro, whatever? But now, everybody, it's time for Playing with Power. Jacob, what have you been playing with Power?
I did a 24-hour live stream of Super Mario 3D World. I have 100%ed all of Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. I'm not a fan of Bowser's Fury. It's actually kind of a letdown in my eyes after the amazingness that is 3D World.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've started playing on my Twitch channel, which I stream typically Monday through Saturday, Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, Saturday from noon to 5, or from 9 to 5. I've started Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I'm actually doing a very unique playthrough of it where I'm only focusing on the like relationships building, and when we get into battle sections, I'm doing auto battle and just accepting whatever happens. So I've already lost. I'm on mission 2, and I've already lost Felix from the Blue Lions. He is dead now, and they don't even recognize
cares about
it.
Felix. Nobody cares about Felix.
Apparently they really don't, because they were just like the game just went on.
She's not he's not an anime girl with, you know, a bunch of lady parts sticking out, so they don't care.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
am I wrong?
And then other than that, I'm also doing a let's play. Me and Rebellity, my girlfriend, are doing a let's play of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, and I'm actually nuzlocking it, which has been a real nightmare. I've lost a lot of Pokemon there as well, so sad.
Fail.
Yeah. Corey, what are you playing with Power?
I've been playing Super Mario 3D World, and let me tell you, it is the best 3D Mario game, hands down. I don't care who says it's not a 3D Mario game. You are wrong. It's right there in the title. 3D World. Okay? People have argued with me that it's not a real 3D Mario game, and I say, I don't care. It's better than Odyssey. It's better than Galaxy. It's better than 64. You're all wrong. It's an amazing game. Everybody should play it. If you have a Switch or a Wii U hanging out somewhere and you listen to this and don't own a Switch, I don't know why. But you should.
Its replayability is off the charts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been playing it pretty much solo. I've also been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I love that game. It is a beautiful game. I would argue that it's prettier than Breath of the Wild in a lot of places. But that's an argument that I have with myself daily. So, just saying, it's a great game. You should play it.
Okay. David, besides Alien Colonial Marines, what have you been playing with Power?
Wait, what? Hold on. Hold on. Alien Colonial Marines? Is this real?
It's a fantastic game, and I don't want to hear about it.
I would love to hear about it. I want to know about this game.
Lots of thoughts. That could fill a whole podcast too. So I had this last week off of work, which was great. So I got to play a lot more games than normal. So I'll be quick with my list. I'm still trying to roll credits on Spirit Tracks on my 3DS. I am working my way through Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for the first time, which I'm loving. And I bought the second one already, so I have that ready to go. For the Zelda anniversary, I'm playing a second quest of the original game, and I've never actually completed the second quest, so I'm excited to do that. And then I've been playing a ton of Animal Crossing, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. What have you been playing, Ed?
So what I've been playing with Power, which we'll talk next week, is Project Triangle Strategy. I'll give more detail about that. I don't want to get into story beats with it just yet, but I want to wait till I'll talk to everybody about it. But I'm playing that. Ni no Kuni, I'm getting a little bit further on into that game, enjoying that. Streets of Rage 4, I've been playing. I got a game called The Takeover. It was really cheap. It's like a beat 'em up game, and it's okay. It's nothing surprising about that. Project Starship X, it's just like very anime-ish goofiness, but really, really fun with that. And that's pretty much what I've been playing with Power for my Switch. I keep looking at some games that be like, I need to finish this game and stuff. Jumping back into Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I really want to play the DLC, but I gotta wait till I finish those two games. But that's what I've been playing with Power. So everybody, that has been Nintendo Pow Block. Man, great discussions, great news segments, great Mo. But before we go, once again, everybody, follow Crossroads at PS_Crossroads. You guys check them out tomorrow at 8 p.m. With Nick Apostolides. He's going to be joining the team. He's the voice actor Leon S. Kennedy. I don't know, I'm probably going to get raked about that name, but I'm just saying. Do check into the Twitch at Exodus803, EXODUS803. And if you love his content and you love seeing the show there, definitely follow him on Twitch and definitely give him some love on YouTube at Exodus803. Go check out his work and the whole PlayStation team content and stuff. We're going to get into plugs. Corey, where can we find you?
You can find me at I am Corey in HD on Twitter. You can find me on Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, and also the Boss Rush podcast. I missed this. I missed this show so much. Like I'm like, I really missed it.
Jacob, where can we find you?
You can find me everywhere on you can find me everywhere on the internet at Galutrad, Galutrad. I also have my community, the Otter Kingdom, which you can hit a Discord link in my Twitter account. We play community game nights every Saturday, and like I said, I stream Monday through Friday 7 to 10 unless I'm here helping to host on the podcast. And then I also wanted to shout out Exodus. The man's like quick math, like 25 people away from hitting 100 on subscribers on YouTube, which is totally free to subscribe on YouTube, and that'll allow him to make a custom YouTube link.
You must pay me $1 to subscribe to LeRon's YouTube channel. It's the rules.
I think based off the numbers that we have on the Pow Block podcast, if less than 10% of the listeners of Pow Block podcast just went over and just hit that subscribe button on a YouTube account, he would hit that. So let's get that. Let's get him there. Let's do that. Because, that's, and like, same shout out to all the people in Otter Kingdom. Do that as well. Go over Exodus803 on YouTube. And let's get him there. Let's get him to 100 follows.
Let's do it.
Or subscribers. It's not follows. It's follows on Twitch. Subscribers on YouTube.
It's all the same. Yeah. Just hit the button.
Yep.
Yes. David, where can we find you?
You can find me at David Lasby on Twitter, on ZeldaDungeon.net, themighty.com, and BossRushGames.com.
Yes, and you guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode. You can check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps. Check out World 101 Podcast on Podbean. We've been going back through our old episodes, so you guys can follow us there. Also, check out more at Nintendo Pow Block and Boss Rush Podcast, and Crossroads, 1v1, Talk the Walk, and more of our content at BossRushGames.com. We got a lot of stories up. My Cyber Shadow review is up there if you guys want to read it. And we're just getting ready for some more great things to come to Pow Block. Get ready though for next month, everybody. We are doing some fantastic things. We got our next quiz show happening next month. We got a community game with Nintendo Pow Block that you guys will be able to check out. And for the first time, you guys going to really like this. And it's going to be really funny. We are doing our first ever fan fiction reading. Oh, yes, everybody. The Pow Block crew will be doing a fan fiction story, and we will be acting it out during reading. So it's something that you don't want to miss. It's something that you guys will definitely would love to check out. What it's gonna be, you have to check out. So with that, everybody, once again, check out PS_Crossroads on Twitch. On Twitter, and check out Exodus803 on YouTube and on Twitch. 8 p.m. You guys will be able to check out the podcast live. With that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we will see you next time on Nintendo Pow Block. Bye, everybody. Woohoo!
Goodbye.
Goodbye.